This is Metro News Hotline, navigating the world of sports, news, entertainment, tech, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Here's the host for Metro News Hotline, Dave Weekley.
All right, let's get Kristyn Burtt in here for the Hollywood Dirt. Kristyn, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
You know what? I want to tell you that after our segment last week, where we focused specifically on stories about TV shopping channels, we got so much response to that. People love that segment.
Oh, I'm so glad. And we should do another one, a follow-up at some point.
I know. I want to do that too. And the only thing I did want to ask you, a question a listener had was, when they say they're on the shopping channels, when they say they're really out of a certain color, is that really true?
Yes, they are. It is absolutely true. Home shopping is monitored by the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. So you have to be really cautious about those things, and you have to be telling the truth. Now, the one little caveat is if it's sold out and then an hour later you go back and check and you're like, well, they said it was sold out and now it's not. Oftentimes a couple will bounce back into the system. So if you're watching and you wanted the blue color, go back and check in about an hour, because oftentimes it is available.
Yeah. You know what? Now, you worked. We're not going to do the whole segment about this, but I do want to ask you one more question in regards to color. I mean, is that really a deal breaker for a lot of people who call the shopping channels? The color?
The color, yeah. Because I think especially if you're buying clothing or maybe furniture, you know it goes with your home decor, you know what goes in your closet or what your favorite color is. So it often matters. All right.
We got a lot of entertainment news to get to today, so let's do it. You know, it's been a kind of rough week, kind of a rough season at the box office for a lot of movies we anticipated would do really well, including Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The surprise hit this weekend was Jim Caviezel's Sound of Freedom. What's the story on Sound of Freedom?
Yes. Now, that came in third at the box office. So you're thinking, well, wait a minute. Insidious, The Red Door was number one. This was third, but we have to remember that this is a type of movie that's really outside the Hollywood system. It's a faith-based community that put this production together, and it had the support of the faith-based. A lot of churches supported it. A lot of conservative groups supported it. It is about child sex trafficking, which is kind of a hot topic within those communities. But people are going wild for the story. It got well reviewed across the board, with no political affiliations, no religious affiliations. That they're saying it's a strong story. The audience is following up, like the cinema score on it. It's an A+. So this is something that people are really looking for. They are looking for something different than your consistent franchises over and over again. So,
you know, this was kind of a misstep by Disney, right? I mean, they had this movie. It was originally set at 20th Century Fox, and Disney had it, and they shelved the project. They could use this hit right now.
Oh, they absolutely could. Disney is having a tough year. You know, Indiana Jones, which they thought was going to be a massive hit, that has disappointed. We've already talked about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania from earlier in the year. Elemental, so Pixar isn't being strong. And then if you take a look at the Wall Street Journal today, they're talking about the fact that Disney World is seeing massive dips in attendance at the parks in Florida. And that is completely unprecedented, so much so that Disney's even offering discounts on admission, not only for this summer, but also for the holiday season.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the wait times are way, way down. But the thing is, bottom line, it's all about the money, right? I mean, it's all about the high cost of tickets.
It is so expensive to go. I went to Epcot just for one day, and it cost a pretty penny because you are adding on the Genie Plus, which gives you, you know, front of the line privileges. You've got the food, you've got the parking. By the time you've added up one single day, each person is well over $500.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. You know, I want to go back to the Caviezel vehicle just for a moment. Sound of Freedom. I mean, this has been a market that's been tapped somewhat successfully in the last decade. Kelsey Grammer had a movie. Chrissy Metz had a movie. But, you know, how do they create buzz for these religious-based films? I mean, are these films that are promoted in church and churchgoers go to these films? How do people get the word out? Because I had no idea. I didn't know anything about this movie.
Yeah, my husband actually produced a faith-based film, and it was really interesting watching how they marketed it. So I kind of have a little bit of insight to this.
Okay.
They did a lot of church tours. So certain churches they would reach out to across the country, some of the bigger ones, in like Texas and Oklahoma. And they would reach out and say, hey, we've got this movie. Would you be interested in it? And they would do a screening, and they do a talk back with the filmmakers. They also entered film festivals, both secular and faith-based film festivals. So they kind of went across the board there to get the word out. And I just feel like the support is there. People are looking for alternative programming, and Hollywood's not necessarily catching on to this, although they should. And I think it's fascinating because the support is definitely there.
All right. So, Jesus Revolution, I remember when that came out. It basically cost nothing to make, and it made over $50 million. This Sound of Freedom thing's going to make way over $50 million, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. And the word of mouth is only going to get stronger over the next couple of weeks because this $18 million it made at the box office over the weekend was unexpected. So I think it'll be even stronger in the next couple of weeks.
Hey, what do you know about this Wham documentary on Netflix? I have not watched it.
It is so good. For anyone that was a child of the 80s or a big fan of George Michael into the 90s, this is really fascinating because Andrew Ridgeley, who was one half of Wham, his mother kept these incredible scrapbooks and diaries of how they came to be. They met in middle school. George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley grew up together, became huge successes. And the documentary, what I love about it, it's not narrated by both of them. So you hear Andrew Ridgeley's side, but you also get to hear George Michael's voice in all of this from obviously interviews that happened prior to his death in 2016. And it covers their rise to success right up until the point where George Michael leaves the group to go and be a solo artist. And it's so poignant, and you forget of how many good singles they had. I think a lot of people will really enjoy this.
I think I would like to watch it. It's funny, I haven't been watching much Netflix, and I did see today that Peyton Manning, his production company, Omar Hot Productions, has got this documentary series about quarterbacks that starts on Wednesday. And I think that's going to be pretty big, too. That's got to be good for Netflix.
Oh, that's going to be huge because they were able to mic up the quarterbacks throughout the 2022-2023 season. So I think it's going to be really fascinating to hear what they have to say. And I know Patrick Mahomes is one of them. So I think love him or hate him, people are going to definitely tune in.
Yeah, Mahomes is one. Kirk Cousins is another one. And Marcus Mariota is the other one. So you've got, a guy who won the Super Bowl. And then you had other guys who weren't so successful last year with their play on the field. I think it's going to be very interesting. Hey, really good stuff today, Kristyn, and really that Sound of Freedom story with Jim Caviezel, that's a pretty interesting one. I'm going to keep my eye on that. Thanks for coming on the show. As always, we'll talk more about the world of entertainment next Monday at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour.
See you then.
All right, Kristyn Burtt, Hollywood Dirt. Let's get Chef Paul Smith in here and talk about food. Paul, how you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you guys?
Man, you've been in Charleston South all week?
I've been in Charleston, South Carolina all week. I've got an event here at the Charleston Place Hotel for the West Virginia and Southern States legislative session. So I'm representing West Virginia and doing, of course, pepperoni rolls.
Oh, that a boy.
For the after party.
That a boy. So how do they like their pepperoni rolls down there?
Hot.
Yeah, right.
It's been hot and steamy here all week. I think the country is feeling a heat wave, and good gosh, it has been steamy, and it's been hot. Luckily there's a little bit of offshore breeze, but it's I'm right now I'm pulling apart the 500 pepperoni rolls that I brought down because on my drive it was so hot, not even a Yeti could keep them frozen.
Wow. Well, have you gone over the bridge to North Charleston since you've been down there? Have you ventured out?
I have. Yeah, we've we had a couple of really awesome meals. We've got some good friends down here. We had a probably one of the best meals we've had in a long time at a place called Sorella. It's a Michael Mina restaurant down here. My wife had a purse that had knives and forks on it, and they asked if we were in the restaurant. She was in the restaurant business. She said no, but I was. And then, it's one of those cool things when you're in the service industry, how service industry helps and just really rolls out the red carpet for other individuals in the service industry. It doesn't matter if you're in Charleston, West Virginia, or South Carolina or whatnot. There is a cool fraternity amongst hospitality workers, and they really rolled out the red carpet. And 3.5 hours later, tour of the kitchen, probably 8 courses, maybe 15 courses. Gosh, I think I stopped counting at 8. We had a really good time. It was awesome.
You know, Paul, thanks to you and a lot of other hardworking people in your industry, Charleston, West Virginia is becoming a very, very good food town. But, man, Charleston, South Carolina, I mean, come on. What's the best breakfast you've had in a week?
Oh, man. We've been to a couple of great places, Butcher and Bee, Daily, which are owned by the same group. Unfortunately, Hominy is no longer open, which was a staple in this area forever. And it's just been, this is a hospitality town.
Right.
This hotel that I'm in right now was purchased not too long ago by a very wealthy individual, and you could just see the changes and they didn't spare any expense. I'm just looking at things that I'm using this evening. It's, Le Creuset this and that, and, the banquet rooms are beautiful, and the hotel's beautiful. It's, everything seems to be, it's just great here. I love it here. Obviously, I love West Virginia and want to be in West Virginia. But it's also nice to get out and see what other areas are doing, and for me, kind of mimic them and put my own twist on.
There you go. The other thing about Charleston, South Carolina, man, the architecture is just amazing. It's a really good place to go. Hey, I wanted to ask you about the farmers market. So we're coming up relatively soon on another one of your free luncheon instruction situations. That's what is it? Third Thursday?
Yes, sir. Third Thursday. It's next week. I believe it's the 20th.
Okay.
Last month we showcased the Blue Smoke Salsa. This month we are showcasing the Humble Tomato, which is where we've done the show from their yard quite a bit over the last couple of months. So we're rolling out their tomato sauce, or their pasta sauce, their pizza sauce, and their Cajun sauce. And doing the same jars that we're doing, the Blue Smoke with. And I'm really excited to be a part of it and be a partner with Emily Isaac in that restaurant. It's awesome. I've had a great time. The sauces are great. The restaurant is beautiful. So we're gonna showcase that, another great West Virginia partnership between New River Brands and the Humble Tomato. Everything tomato, it starts with the Humble Tomato as an ingredient. It's great.
You know what, though? Your phone connection is so good today. So good today. Oh. But what I really miss is like when you're in the office at 10:10 and the other phones are ringing.
And the phones are ringing. Well, I tell you what, I'm in a kitchen right now. I'm in the Charleston Place pastry kitchen, which this kitchen is bigger than the entire 1010 restaurant. I wish that this was a Zoom call so you could see it. It's pretty amazing. And I'm in here by myself because their pastry team comes in at 9:00 or 10:45 at night and works all night to make sure that they get all the breads baked and pastries done and everything for the hotel. So it brings me back to my days at the Biltmore when I was the pastry chef there, and I really feel at home here. It's awesome.
I sent you a couple of stories. I don't know if you got a chance to read it, but did you read the story I sent you about the Waffle House in Columbia, South Carolina? Because
I did not.
Okay. There was a situation where workers there went on strike last Saturday over store safety, meal deductions, and issues with the physical upkeep of the store. And you know what? You don't really think about this kind of stuff. But the Waffle House is open 24/7, and what they want, they want a security guard, and they haven't got one. But one of the things they mention here is that they are charged like $3.15 for meal deductions when they are at work. Is that normal in the food industry that you?
Yeah, it varies from restaurant to restaurant or property to property. In my restaurants, front of the house gets 25 to 50% off, depending on what it is. And the back of the house gets one meal free.
Okay.
Now, that meal is also, it's not salmon or tuna. It's a within reason. But I think that, to me, it sounds within reason. I mean, $3 for a meal, you can't get that if you can't bring in your own meal and it be cheaper than that. Now, I could see if they're not eating and they have the option to not take it. And I could also see, we all need a safe working environment. We all need to make sure that everything is running properly and everything is safe. So those are legitimate things. But the business itself, has to be a viable business. And, it is Waffle House. It's eggs and flour
sure.
and obviously waffles. And those are fairly inexpensive, but so is $3.
One of the problems that this group in Columbia, South Carolina has with the Waffle House is they're saying, hey, I'm getting charged $3.15 for a meal. I'm not even getting a chance to eat.
Well, I think that could be, I would hope that they do get a little bit of time to eat, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes every 2.5 hours or whatever it is. So, I think I would have to be in that situation, and really delve a little bit further into it. But it seems to me like you could take a couple minutes to eat a waffle.
Yeah, I got you.
I eat standing over the trash can in my own restaurant, and what I eat is probably at the pitch. If you can ask anybody, it's 2 6-inch flour tortillas, a piece of Swiss, a piece of American, and a couple of jalapenos. So I'm probably eating the cheapest thing, maybe even less than $3.
Hey, well, listen, I'll let you go. Thanks for giving me a couple of minutes today to talk about food. And props to what you're doing representing West Virginia and Charlie South.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. As always, it's my pleasure. Have a wonderful week.
Sounds good. All right, Chef Paul Smith, we talked with him about food and food preparation at the top of the 4 o'clock hour every Monday. I love this segment, and I know a lot of you do as well. Coop, you concerned me when I looked in there and I saw you with a mop. What?
Yeah.
You know what? We've been doing a lot of shows together. We've done literally thousands of shows together.
Literally.
I don't ever think I've seen you working a mop while I was actually on the air. What was going on back there?
Yeah, it's fairly simple. I went and got me some water during our top of the hour break, and as I was walking back in, I was screwing the top back on at the same time, and I don't know, my age or the coordination or something got the better of me. I ended up dropping the bottle. It went everywhere. And so standing water in a radio studio is not great.
Not good. But it didn't hit any of the gear. We're good to go, right?
Completely on the floor. I just had to get the puddles out.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, let's talk some Steeler football with Dave Bryan. Much better. Much better. Hey, Dave, how you doing out there in Vegas, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's like 133 degrees out. Hey, but only 10% humidity, right?
Oh, man. Hey, dude, do you need to take like a personal fan when you go from like the door to your car? I mean, it's unbelievable out there, right?
We are coming from the South and all the humidity, back where we're from in Florida, it obviously got hot. It gets oven hot out here, but the good thing is there's, the low humidity. But even so, hot is hot. And if you're out there long enough, you certainly do know it there for sure. But I think this week it's going to get up to like 113, 115, something like that.
Good grief. All right, before we get into the serious Steeler stuff, I wanted to just ask you about a story that you linked earlier today about this Wheaties box that's going to be coming out in August that's going to feature the Watt brothers. And I'm looking at this box of Wheaties right now. It's got JJ on the top and it's got TJ on the bottom. I've never seen a Wheaties box like this. What do you think of this thing?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic for those two. And to my understanding, Derek Watt is on the back of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, according, I think, to the press release that came out here. And look, this is the first time that Wheaties has chosen a duo to be featured on the box since 1934, and they're the first brothers to be on a cereal box together. And it goes on to say that brother Derek, who is featured on the back of the box, past athletes, obviously, as we both know, Dave, growing up, well, Michael Jordan has been on the box, LeBron James, and I think Simone Biles has been on there as well, too. So this is quite an accomplishment. I'm willing to bet that there are going to be a lot of people buying these boxes just for the collector edition part of it, and put them away somewhere. But big accomplishment for them, and they're real excited about it, as you could probably imagine.
Now, I've got a sports collectibles guy, Steve Whittington, coming on at the bottom of the hour, so I'll ask him about this. I mean, I'm always confused about what you're supposed to do with these Wheaties boxes. Do you not open them? Do you open them and pour the cereal out and then put them in a case? What do you do with these boxes?
Yeah, I would imagine, too. I would try to get both of them to sign it, too,
if
I could, and then probably put that thing in glass somewhere. But I think I might buy one of those and put them up on the shelf here for display.
Oh, I hear you. I've only got one Wheaties box that I've kept, and that is a Dale Earnhardt box. And I've got that one, and I've got it in a little case, but I took all the cereal out of it, and now I kind of wish I hadn't. But, I'm sure you've probably heard this before. You're a Steeler guy. I mean, what about all that Iron City beer stuff that used to come out back in the 70s with the Steeler players? I mean, are you supposed to drain the beer out of that stuff, or I don't even know what to do with that stuff now.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you can still buy some of those off eBay every now and again. Some of those things show up on there and all. And obviously I didn't grow up in that area. And when they put them out, I was living down south there. Wasn't old enough to drink, even though I was probably drinking at the time. But
hey, I think they had what, McDonald's glasses from some of the Super Steelers from the Super Steeler era. All right, let's talk about maybe a future Super Steeler. Alex Highsmith. What do you think the timetable is on when this deal, his contract extension, which we all assume is going to be done at some point? What's the time frame here? Do you think that's going to be done before he goes to camp?
I don't know. It's already kind of past the deadline that I thought that it might happen by, if it was going to happen before training camp, but that was July 1st. I kind of thought, well, you go back to last year and they got Minkah Fitzpatrick done early. Maybe they'll get Alex Highsmith done well before camp, and that obviously hasn't happened. It feels like now that once they do get into camp, they'll start putting the finishing touches on this. It's going to get done. It's just a matter of when. And in the meantime, before it does get done, is Alex Highsmith going to do one of those kind of hold-ins, that we've seen a couple of these other players do in the past, because those have been real popular. In other words, he'll be at training camp, but he probably won't be doing too much as far as it comes to team drills and things like that, because he obviously doesn't want to get hurt. He wants to make sure that he gets the contract signed before that. But I think it'll get done. And but we've seen in the past these contract extensions can go all the way up until right before the season starts. But it will get done before week 1. At this point, I wish I could tell you when exactly, but I don't know.
All right. You know what? I didn't even realize that this has snuck up on us, that today was the NFL supplemental draft. And I mean, nothing happened. Nobody did anything. In the past, there used to be like one, maybe two guys who would be selected in the supplemental draft. I mean, this was a big zero. Nothing happened.
Yeah, just a couple of wide receivers that were kind of notable heading into this. One out of Jackson State and Malachi Widerman, and the other one I think out of Purdue was
Milton Wright.
Yeah, Milton Wright there. So neither one of those guys. And look, to participate in this thing, if any of these guys were worth anything, a team would have gave up a 7th-round draft pick. Next year, because that's the minimum that it would cost you to participate in this thing. So now we'll sit back and wait to see where those, both those guys will probably end up signing as undrafted free agents here in the next week or two.
You know what? Obviously, we're scrambling for NFL content. There'll be a flood of it once we get a little closer to the opening of camp and when camp's actually open. But I saw this story that Alex wrote at your website, talking about something at Bleacher Report. Darnell Washington predicted to be the Steelers' biggest disappointment. And I just thought, where is this story coming from? And I read it, and there's really nothing. This thing is absolutely not based in anything that has to do with facts.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta write about this stuff and call BS on it, right?
I guess so.
And then that's I think that's the angle that Alex kind of took on it. And the author is also I think Alex Ballantyne over at Bleacher Report, and they scramble for content this time of the off season as well too. But I mean, they could have come up with a better suggestion than Darnell Washington, a rookie that make no he's going to block. He's going to his primary role during his rookie season is to be a blocking tight end there. And you go back and you look at his numbers at Georgia. He wasn't used extensively in the passing game, but they had so many weapons at Georgia anyway. And they also had Brock Bowers, I think, or is that other young tight end of theirs and all like that. So it's going to take Washington. And the other thing about Washington too, you only had I think 3 red zone receiving touchdowns there at Georgia, but through no fault of his own, he just wasn't used extensively in the red zone. So, this angle that Bleacher Report had on this story was kind of foolish overall, and there's no reason to think that it's going to be a down season for Washington. He might not light it up in the statistical category, other than pancakes, and I'll be fine with reviewing those pancakes on the weekly basis.
Well, you know what though, you doggone you, Dave Bryant. I mean, this was clickbait. You got me going on this story.
That's
mission accomplished. You made me get to. But here's the thing: when you have a team, there will be a most surprising player, and there will be a most disappointing player. I just don't think that Darnell Washington is going to be the most disappointing player. I absolutely love this pick.
Yeah, the only way I see it is if he gets hurt, misses games with injury or something like that. Other than that, he's going to be out there probably playing, 400 snaps, 500 snaps during the season. And once again, they expect him to be a force in the blocking department there for starters.
Hey, do you think out there in Vegas you're going to stay out of the heat maybe and watch Netflix tomorrow, episode 1, A Quarterback? You going to watch that?
I am interested in watching that for sure. It's been pumped up pretty good. It sounds like it's produced really, really well. And also, tomorrow's the slowest day in the sports world, isn't it?
You told me that. That's right.
After the All-Star game and all like that, I think we got the ESPYs or something coming up. But
no, I can't.
But I'll probably tune into that Netflix. Oh, and you hit on the thing about the hockey team in Reno. That thing's going to probably end up doing pretty good over there because it's right there, Reno, Lake Tahoe area. That's a pretty affluent, section of the country there. Beautiful up there and all. And I think the seating capacity is something like 3,000 or 4,000 up there. So I'm excited to see how that does up there in that area.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think that's really interesting. So from where you are in Vegas, how far is it? From Reno to Lake Tahoe is what? It's about an hour?
Yeah, it's not a long drive, and I think they got it somewhere near the state line or something like that, from what I read about. But from Vegas to Reno's a good 7-hour trip, 6.5, 7-hour trip by car. We've done that once already since we've lived out here. Beautiful area up there too.
Yeah, gorgeous. I mean, just a great place, and I guess from Lake Tahoe it's about 90 minutes to Sacramento from there. That's a really beautiful area. But you're right. Tomorrow, slowest sports day of the year. You know what Coop, you know what they should have put in yesterday, or they should put in tomorrow? That's when the futures game for baseball should be. That's where
definitely true.
You know what? Hey, we'll talk more about that when I let Dave go. Hey, Dave, good stuff. Stay out of the heat, brother. And we'll talk some Steeler football next Tuesday.
All right, I'll keep the AC on for sure.
You better, or I'm going to lose a regular guest. Here it comes in. Coming in hot, the video game report from Ryan Nicholson. Ryan,
hey,
what up? What up with video games?
Okay, we've all been accustomed nowadays to things getting delayed, like a product, maybe a phone that you're waiting for and really eager for the release, and it's like, nope, production is slow, we gotta delay it. Now, the opposite has happened recently. A little video game that I've been bothering Coop about for the past month, called Baldur's Gate 3, has moved their release date up from August 31st to August 3rd because production was going so smoothly with it.
So this is a game you like?
Yes, it's a great game. It is based on Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It is beautiful. It's great. And I think, now this is just me, but I think it's a contender for Game of the Year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. If there was a movie poster for this game, your review would be at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like Germain. Right?
Yeah.
All right.
But in all seriousness, this kind of thing is...
In all seriousness.
It's unprecedented. This has pretty much never happened before. And in a climate of... Thanks for pulling out the newspaper while I'm talking.
No, I have something in the paper I want to ask you about in a second.
Well then, in a climate of crunch development and game delays, this is a very welcome change, and it is very nice to see. Dave,
I didn't mean that was not a reflection.
I see how appreciated my video game report is.
That was not a reflection on your outstanding report.
It rhymes from a different generation, man. Newspaper is a little scary to see that.
No, the reason I brought that up is how, you were telling me that it's been a year and a half since you've been able to organize your Dungeons and Dragons thing.
Yes, and I've never been able to do it.
Okay, well, I was wondering how interested you are in the CharCon that's coming to Charleston. That'll be coming up at the Charleston Coliseum. Is it this weekend? No, it's at the Clay Center. It's at the Clay Center starting on Friday. So there'll be Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and all that kind of stuff.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's what I was reading in the newspaper. I wasn't trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Coop, look, we're shifting back into the video game report. So bring the music back up again for one moment. Because we have an update on a previous video game report of yours.
Yes.
What's going on with Activision?
So, Microsoft Activision at it again. Oh boy. So a federal judge in San Francisco ruled in favor of Microsoft and Activision and denied the FTC's motion for a preliminary injunction. Now, this means for the time being, it's very up in the air that the deal can go through, but the U.S. government can appeal it and send it to another court. So it's I see it like reported like this is a big bombshell, but honestly, this is just more like procedural stuff, and it's still as murky as it was before.
Now, see, when you're talking about these big stock companies, I wasn't reading the paper while you were giving the update on that. Now, this deal is essentially dead in Europe, right?
In the UK.
In the UK?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I kind of watched the market, and I noticed the stock of Activision is up about 11% today on this news, and Microsoft is basically flat. That's the way this normally works. Actually, it's down about 50 cents now. That's the way this... So what's this mean for a gamer?
What does it mean for a gamer? Because I think that when you have a monopolization of a video game company, you don't really feel it as a consumer, because the people you buy the games from don't really matter as long as the games are good.
Okay.
But if this gives them an excuse to push out subpar games because they're the only company in town making games, then that's where people will take issue. If they put out bad games, they'll get bad press, they'll get bad reviews, and everything will go bad. If they make good games, people probably won't notice, however ethical this is or isn't.
All right. I'm paying attention to you.
Yes.
I'm paying attention to you. By the way, here is the paper. I think I might be the last person on earth who actually gets the hard copy edition of the Gazette Mail. But there's the story about CharCon.
Cool.
See right there, the 16th. That starts on Friday at the Clay Center. So you can find your D&D peeps over there.
Sorry, what did you say? I was too busy reading the
paper. Coop, when's the last time you played D&D?
Oh, man, it's been... let's see, it was when probably like 2002, 2003, something like that.
And that's probably a different edition of D&D than the one I'm playing.
Definitely is. However, the Baldur's Gate franchise is one that I played. That's the reason Ryan talks to me about it. The earlier incarnations that I had on like the Amiga and stuff when I was growing up. And it's sort of the precursor to like Assassin's Creed and stuff like that. All the things that are popular these days. Dragon's Age and things like that. This is kind of the precursor to all that. It's kind of what it got started.
As we continue to produce this show while we actually perform it, Do you think maybe we should get a guest from the CharCon on to talk about board games and stuff? Should we do a segment on that?
I mean, people like games.
I think they do.
People like games.
I think they do. Or is this discussion in the middle of what should have been the video game report sufficient?
Well, I mean, the CharCon is all board games, right?
I guess it's the 16th annual.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I've been to
which has no impact on the question you asked me. That was just like a deflection.
Yeah, right. I think that it's all board games. So, I mean, people like games, so why not?
I think so.
Talk about different games. I mean, we could get somebody on from that the Board Game Hall of Fame. I think that they have a media department, and that's kind of an interesting thing.
That is pretty good. Ryan, outstanding report.
Thank you.
Sorry about
your lack of attention.
My lack of attention in the center of it. Let's take a break. Sound of Sports is next. It's time to start getting into fantasy football. One of the things that I'm interested in today is I've got some guys in fantasy football and fantasy baseball rather, that I'm wondering, man, here we are, we've passed the halfway point of the season. Should we be cutting bait on some of these guys? Jeff Erickson joins me now from RotoWire. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing well, Dave. Yourself?
I'm doing good. It's the All-Star break. Coop and I were talking about this right before you came on. Normally when you join us, we're watching soccer. We've got baseball games going. This is like the quietest day of the sports calendar.
Absolutely, it is. It's and every year we go to Vegas during this week during the All-Star break because it's precisely because it is the three quietest sports days of the year. I'm actually driving home from that right now, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
I got you fine. All right, well, guys that it's time to maybe cut bait on, or it's time to have a serious conversation about. What are your thoughts on Pete Alonso of the Mets here? I mean, since June 1st, he's hitting under 150 with an OBP of like 259. What do you do if you got the polar bear? Do you trade him? Do you keep him? What do you do with him?
Keep him, and if you don't have him, trade for him. This is a blip. We have an established track record, barring an injury that, maybe his earlier injury is an issue. Maybe that's been a problem for him. Maybe he came back too soon. Barring an aggravation of said injury, though, I think he's going to bounce back, and I think now's the time you go to try to seek him out and see if you get him on 90 cents on the dollar. Okay, all right. Another guy I want to ask you about is Cristian Javier of the Astros. I mean, he started out great. He won 7 of his first 8 decisions and looked great. But here's another guy. Since June 1st, his ERA is 7.5. His WHIP is 1.7. What are you thinking about Javier? Do you keep him? Do you trade him? What do you do with him? Tougher call because less established of a track record, especially as a full-time starter. I would suggest, though, that you still maybe look to. I would probably hold him in a league where I have him. I think it was noteworthy that the Astros held him out over the weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe to give him a little extra recovery time. He's having trouble with his command, especially on his breaking pitches. I think that's been the primary cause, and I think sometimes you see a mechanical adjustment can go a long way. We saw that with your guy, Alek Manoah. So changes can happen. It may take a little longer than we think. It's not always like on this rigid schedule.
Yeah, well, let me ask you about Manoah. We have 2 listener leagues here. He was available in one. Another league he was not. I grabbed him. And, he just had a fantastic outing in Detroit against the Tigers last Friday where he threw a lot of first-pitch strikes, didn't have any walks at all. What are your thoughts about Manoah in the second half?
It's complicated because, 3 weeks ago, I think we were talking about how he got pounded at a rookie league outing.
Yeah.
Then subsequently, he dominated Double-A. It seems like they made some sort of mechanical adjustment to him. And I think they found a way to get his mind right. And I think that was the bigger adjustment. He also did it against the Tigers here. Now, I want to make sure that we're kind of, maybe, I wouldn't say pumping the brakes necessarily, but watching with a little bit of a wary eye for when he plays tougher teams. He might be a streamer for the future notice here. I haven't seen, I don't have the schedule in front of me, so I don't know who he's got next. But, I think some of his tougher opponents maybe sit it out. But I said go get him if he's still out there. at the very worst, if you have a reserve spot, you can park him there for our week.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Last week we talked a little bit about Joey Votto, and, you agreed with me that at this point he's a platoon player. He came back, he was red hot, had a dead spot, now he's red hot again. I mean, can you afford to have him on your team if he's only going to start half the time?
I guess it depends on the depth of your league. I mean, it's a little bit more than half the time because he is a left-hander.
Right.
For right-handed pitchers out there, so it's probably more like 60% of the time, maybe even a little bit more. Let's face it, sometimes it's hard to find a good first baseman out there. It's one of those years where finding power anywhere is good. Such a big proportion of his hits have been homers, too.
Yeah, I know you're right. First base has been kind of a grind for a lot of us. Coop, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, you're kind of a Reds mark. Do you want Votto on your team?
I thought about it because in one of my leagues, I actually am struggling at first base a little bit, and I thought, man, his I don't know if he could keep up his ratio numbers where he's hitting. I mean, he can't. I mean, it's not going to happen. But he's playing fairly well, and
right.
Don't put it beyond him to play himself back into the lineup a little more. I mean, if the guy gets hot, then you definitely can't sit Joey Votto. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, my teams are so far out of it, I'm tempted just to pick him up because I'm a Reds fan.
Yeah, but this is a situation. This is new to his career, right? I mean, to this point, he's never really sat consistently against left-handed pitching.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, you leave the guy in there because you still get on base just via walk a good percentage of the time. Traditionally with him, he's not walking as much now as what he used to. So I don't know. That's a calculus that the Reds have to come up with. But go ahead and add him to your fantasy team. That's Coop's idea.
Hey Jeff, I'll let you go on this one. How many NFL drafts have you done already?
I've only done like 3 or 4. I've got another one on Saturday, which is a expert league called the Scott Fish Bowl. And usually I do that online, but this year it's going to be live. It's going to be there's a group of us down in Orange County who are going to do it. It's going to be super fun. I did one at my RotoWire conference. I'll probably end up with 20 before draft season's over, though.
Is there an argument to be made in any format to take a player out besides Christian McCaffrey with the first overall pick?
Yeah, I think you can really strong argument for either Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase too. McCaffrey, I think the slight concern every year as the running back gets older, we get concerned about a drop off, injuries, things of that nature. The fact that the Niners have Elijah Mitchell and might want to limit McCaffrey's workload from time to time, and just the way you structure your team. A lot of times, drafters will like to build strong receivers and then go with a volume at running back later type of approach. So I think you can make a pretty good argument. All
right, speaking of arguments to be made, can you make one to take Kupp before Jefferson or Chase?
You can make one. I don't think the conditions are present that they were 2 years ago with Kupp, though. I mean, Stafford, first of all, Kupp's coming off his own injury. Looks like everything's good now health-wise for him, but it's a major injury he's coming back from. 2, Stafford's coming back from a major injury. And 3, that Rams offensive line isn't so great. So he may not have, I'd still take him in the first round, but I'd probably wait till maybe 5th overall. I'd probably take McCaffrey and Eckler as well as those 2 receivers before him.
Hey, I one more quick one. Bijan Robinson. I mean, how many running backs do you take before him? Is he like the 3rd or the 4th back off the board, even though he's a rookie?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's in that range. I'd say probably 4th. I'd probably take Jonathan Taylor in addition to McCaffrey and Eckler before him, and then it's probably Bijan. I mean, a lot of people love the skills, the talent. Not only that, but he's on a team there that loves to run the ball a ton. Arthur Smith is known for being a run-first head coach. We've seen that last year at Atlanta, and they have a good run-blocking offensive line, too. So, he's a first-round talent for sure.
All right. Well, hey, listen, thanks for coming on with us. Have a safe trip back to L.A.
Hey, thanks, Dave.
All right, Jeff Erickson, senior editor at RotoWire.com. But Coop, hit the music because, man, it's creeped up on us again. It's time to play Pick One. Time to play Pick One. The rules are kind of explained in the title, and pick one for each topic. 2 choices are given, and you must select one of them. Hence, you must pick one. Coop and I have 5 sets of Pick One topics. We have not seen each other's Pick One selections. There are no correct answers. There are simply opinions. Honest responses are likely to result in hurt feelings that could jeopardize our friendship and working relationship, but we are willing to risk all that for the sake of higher ratings. Let's get started. Coop, are you ready to play Pick One?
Man, I think so. I got my stretches out of the way.
So, Tom Cruise got a new movie rolling into theaters today, or a day early, trying to get the jump on the weekend. So Mission Impossible has been a fabulous franchise for him. It's just going on and on and on. We don't know when it's going to stop. The guy's 61 years old.
Amazing.
But I want to talk about a couple of other critically acclaimed Tom Cruise movies, and I want you to pick your favorite. Okay? Better Tom Cruise movie, Risky Business or Minority Report? Risky Business or Minority Report? Please pick one.
I mean, honestly, Minority Report still holds up pretty well. I mean, I think it's still a pretty good movie, honestly.
But there's not a lot of laughs.
No. It's not that kind of movie.
Right.
It's based off of the Philip Dick book and who wrote Blade Runner. I like Minority Report a lot. I've seen Minority Report twice, probably, and liked it both times that I saw it.
Right.
I've seen Risky Business 30 times, probably, and I mean, Rebecca De Mornay. So Risky Business.
Come on, right?
Risky Business.
Come on. Yeah. I have to say that I've seen Minority Report. I like it. Well, maybe I'll rephrase that. I don't know if I really, really like it. It's okay. But if I see that it's on, it really doesn't make me want to watch it.
Risky Business makes me not hate Bob Seger.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Like every other Bob Seger song, if I hear the beginning of it, unless maybe it's the Beverly Hills Cop song, I'm like, oh, God. But I hear, and I think of Tom Cruise, doing the thing,
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there was so much ahead of him at that time, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. Let me just say this about Tom Cruise. He is a perfectionist at his craft. Whatever you think about his personal life, anything else about along those lines, as far as the movie industry goes, that dude is where it's at.
All right, I'm not going to fall too far behind, but time-wise, but, man, every Tom Cruise movie, I mean, even like the Firm, there are scenes of him like running.
Oh yeah, the Tom Cruise run. That's a meme. Yeah.
Does he run in Risky Business? I don't know if he does.
That was before that brand was established.
That's probably so. All right, this was one I had for Chef Paul. I kept it in my pocket.
Okay. Hit me with it.
Yeah. What's the proper name for a long sandwich packed with meat, cheese, and condiments? Do you call those a hoagie, a hero, or a sub? Please pick one. The name for a long sandwich packed with meat.
Not grilled, right? That would be a grinder to me.
That would be a grinder. Okay, yeah. That is not one of your choices.
And sub would be what I would go with. I don't really know what a hoagie or a hero is, to be honest with you. I call all of them a sub.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I was
shaped like a submarine.
When I was growing up in Clarksburg, and there's a lot of Italian influence, we would call it a hoagie. But here in Canal Valley, it's a sub.
Yeah, it's always been a sub to me. I don't care what they call it. I just like them.
All right, so I have to have a classic rock question, right? Got to do it. So yesterday we got the word that Ozzy is not going to be able to perform at the Power Trip Festival that's set for California in early October. And replacing Ozzy on the bill will be Judas Priest. Okay. We didn't know what was going to happen. There was a lot of excitement out there because nobody had seen Ozzy perform in a long, long time. So, pick one for you to go to a concert. Ozzy, Judas Priest. Please pick one. Ozzy or Judas Priest. And we're talking today.
Oh, Judas
Priest. If the show was
yeah.
like tonight.
I've never seen Ozzy before. I would not want for the one time that I saw Ozzy and my wife to be right now.
Yeah.
So I think I'd go with Judas Priest because I've seen a live thing that he did not that long ago. They did not that long ago, and they still do pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. But there is something about you think, man, this could be it for Ozzy, right? This could be this could be it.
Yeah. You never know with the rock and roll stars. Either they're pickled like Keith Richards, or, there's a whole spectrum of what could happen to them throughout their 60s, 70s, 80s. You just never know.
But the thing about Ozzy, they were talking about bringing him up through a riser and he wouldn't have to move, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. All right. We talked about this a little bit, but in light of the fact that the All-Star game was last night, I want to bring this back again. More likely for you to watch an hour of.
Okay.
More likely for you to watch an hour of Home Run Derby or the All-Star Game. Please pick one. An hour.
I mean, I watched both of them this time around, so it's kind of hard for me to... Although I think I'm generally more entertained by the Home Run Derby, I'm probably more likely to watch the game for a longer period of time. Just 'cause I like baseball games, So I think the Home Run Derby is a little bit more entertaining, but it does get a little long by the end of the night. You're kind of ready for it to be over with. And baseball's baseball, so I'll always have the game one way or the other.
It was a good game last night.
Yeah, it was a good game. Good game.
Were you watching last night when Big Papi, Jeter, and A-Rod were hanging?
Yeah.
Right in the front row?
Yeah.
Does Big Papi look like a good hang?
Oh, yeah. I bet that guy's just an absolute blast to be around.
They actually are a pretty good team. All right, finally, it is Amazon Prime Day. So I don't know if you bought anything, but just say you got maybe $75 in your pocket. Which one of these two cooking items are you more likely to buy?
Nice.
A Lodge 6-quart cast iron Dutch oven, $60, normally $133, 55% off. Or an Aero Garden hydroponic indoor garden for $50, marked down from $165, 70% off. Which one are you more likely to buy? The $60 Dutch oven or the hydroponic indoor garden? Please pick one.
Man, that's a good question because I actually already own that Dutch oven. So that exact one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I already own that. However, the hydroponic garden sounds nice, but it also sounds like it just takes up a lot of room. I kind of know how those things go. You bring them in, you get it set up, it's all neat, and then I don't know, if it's not part of your workflow, it gets forgot about, and then it just gets dirty, and then I don't know. I don't like the path that thing would take. I don't think Dutch ovens, although it might be a little redundant. Man, I love cast iron cookware, so yeah. I'd have to go with cast iron.
It's a Lodge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got to go with it. Although I like the unnamed ones that you find at thrift stores and stuff like that. I like to reseason them. I'll take them home and I'll strip them and reseason them and stuff like that. I like doing that. But anyway, I would buy this one new.
All right, what do you got for me?
All right, first one is this is something that I thought about because I actually like this when I traveled. Around the country, this was actually really convenient, and I was just thinking the other day, and they don't have them anymore. When I was traveling around the country, one of the things I did when you go to National Forest, you need to make a payment, or you're running in somewhere, laundromats, different things like that, is that was right when the dollar coins were being rolled out, and I had just like a car full of dollar coins. And so when I was running in somewhere, I would just grab a handful of dollar coins, run into the store, get whatever I needed to run out. Loved it. I love the dollar coins. So my question to you is just simply, pick one. Yes to the dollar coins and no paper coins, or no to the dollar coins and all paper dollar bills.
You know what? I think I'm going to have to say no to the dollar coins.
Okay.
Because the coins are always changing, right?
I don't have to.
Well, I know, but they do. And when I think about a bigger coin, I'm still thinking about like that Kennedy $50.
Well, they were only a little bit bigger than a quarter.
Yeah,
and they had slightly angled edges, so you knew that they were a little bit different, and they were gold colored. Man, I just loved them. I thought they were super convenient. You look in your wallet and you're like, oh man, I got some bills in here, and there's like 4 ones. You're like, that's no money.
Yeah, that's true. I really didn't have that much experience with the dollar coin.
Most people didn't. I think that it just so happened that I got married about that time.
Yeah.
A bunch of our money came, like people thought it was, oh hey, let's give them dollar coins. So we got like tons of rolls of dollar coins. We just had them. I thought they were super convenient.
You know what? That may be true, but I didn't have any experience with them, so I'm gonna have to go for the paper.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that most people probably would, but I like them. Okay, so we're in the middle of a writer strike right now, and people aren't getting TV shows written. Now, I don't know much about today's TV shows, so we're going to go into a fantasy world here and say, well, at some point in time, the Hollywood strike was going on, and you needed to be contracted to write a TV show. And they come to you and say, Dave, there's two shows that's on that they're just thirsting for more episodes. Which one of these are you comfortable with writing an episode for?
Okay.
So these aren't on anymore. Both of these are no longer on the air. So would you be more comfortable writing an episode of The Office or of Cheers?
I think I'd probably be more comfortable with Cheers.
Okay.
Boy, I'd like to know how many. There's probably many more episodes of Cheers, right?
I don't know.
I'm going to guess. All right, here's a prediction. I'm going to predict that there are twice as many episodes of Cheers than The Office. Not that it matters, but I'm more familiar with the characters on Cheers. I feel like I know them better.
Yeah, Sam, Diane, et cetera, et cetera. So you feel like you get a little better handle on all of them. Yeah, okay, I got you there. So that makes a lot of sense.
The other thing, too, is The Office humor is a little bit more ironic. So I think I would be much more comfortable trying to write more straight jokes that would fit the characters on Cheers.
That's a great point. That's kind of what I was thinking, too. By the way, Cheers has 11 seasons, 275 episodes. The Office has 9 seasons, 211 episodes.
Really?
201 episodes.
So there's more episodes of The Office?
No. There's 74 more episodes of Cheers.
Oh, okay.
But not double.
Okay.
All right, question number 2 is, or question number 3 now. Which of these would be a better car ride for you? I like mixing this up a little bit. You pull this out sometimes, so I like changing the parameters a little bit. So, would you rather ride with Tommy Pham to see the Ravens play in the Super Bowl, or ride with Ray Lewis to see a Tony La Russa keynote speech?
I'm not riding with Tommy Pham. Okay.
You riding with Ray Lewis?
I'm riding with Ray Lewis. Okay. I know. But
to see Tony La Russa?
But Tommy Pham is just crazy. You know, people try to be nice to Tommy Pham, and he still fights back.
That's true.
Ray Lewis can be on his behavior.
What if it was Yasiel Puig instead of Pham?
Yeah, but wait a minute. The trip to see a speech by Tony La Russa?
That's what I mean, yeah.
Oh, man, that is rough. Where would I be going with Pham?
To see the Ravens play in the Super Bowl.
With Pham?
Yes.
It's got to be the Super Bowl trip. It's got to be.
Tony La Russa pulled you out. Tony La Russa pushed you right back into Pham.
I know.
Welcome to the Pham. That's how bad Tony La Russa is. I love it.
Well, if you tolerate Pham, you lose them at the game, and you get to go to the game.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
And
it
is the Super Bowl.
Right, but it's the Ravens.
That's all right. I'd still go.
All right. Okay, we were blessed in the 80s.
I love that question.
We were blessed in the 80s with one great television show and having 2 great catchphrases. So I'm going to make you choose which of the catchphrases are the best from this show. And, of course, I'm talking about the A-Team.
Okay.
And the 2 catchphrases I'm talking about is, I love it when a plan comes together, and I pity the fool.
Pity the fool is shorter.
True.
And so you're more apt to use that.
Okay.
More apt to use that.
Both of them are highly usable, though.
Yeah, both of them are highly usable, but as a dude, Mr. T. Mr. T's.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I got you. You'd pity the fool otherwise.
All right, one more.
Okay, quick three selection question here, and this is really easy. This is food related, so just pick your pizza crust, man. We've never done this with a three choice before. New York style deep dish or thin crust?
Thin crust.
Yes, sir.
A thin crust. I'm more of a thin crust guy than I used to ever be.
I like New York style the best, but thin crust is a close second for me.
We're still over.
Not that bad. Not that bad. Pretty good today.
Not that bad. All right. That is Pick One. We do it every Wednesday at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. But let's get Abrar Al-Heeti on here because she's probably got, maybe a half a dozen browsers open, making some deals on Amazon Prime Day. Abrar, how you doing?
Browsers open. Here we go.
There we go.
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. I meant to say tabs, right? I always mess that up. That's a sheer giveaway, right?
I knew what you meant.
I know you did. I know you did. Hey, so Abrar, first of all, how's it going? I mean, this has got to be an insane time at CNET, right?
It's very busy, and we're just trying to keep up. We're updating our website with a bunch of deals. We're posting about it, and it's busy. I think we're all ready for next week to be here, so today can go by quickly.
All right. So driving in today, I was hearing some interesting stats about Prime Day, where the average price of an item that you buy on Prime is about $55. Okay, but I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that is discounted. And here's one thing. I'm addicted to audio gear. And you can spend a fortune on some of this stuff over the last 2 days because there are really a lot of good deals. And it kind of got me a little bit angry. I'm thinking, if you can offer this stuff at these prices for 48 hours right now, why don't you do that in any other part of the year?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If they're able to do it, they really enjoy the surge in customer traffic. And then obviously the goal here is to entice people to buy a Prime subscription. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have one, this is your chance to cave. And it's also your chance, if you don't want to fully subscribe to Prime and keep it as a commitment, sign up for a free trial. But then you have to remember to cancel the free trial, which you will likely forget to do, which is their hope and dream.
Yep.
But which advice I would offer is to make sure you add it in your calendar to know when to cancel, so that auto renewal doesn't hit you. But yeah, that's really the goal here. And also, in addition to getting your money through Prime subscriptions, a lot of the products that you'll see that are on sale are Amazon products. So Amazon tech items, your Fire tablets and Fire TV sticks and Echo smart speakers and Echo Buds. So it's really just this, it's Christmas for Amazon, because they want your money and they're getting it.
Going back to the subscription price to be a member of Amazon Prime, I mean, there's a bunch of benefits. But for $130, if you pony up to be a Prime member, you got to realize that this opportunity is kind of built into your subscription. I mean, you're basically buying in so that you can get advantage of these deals right now.
Exactly. So you're going to just want to make sure that it'll pay out in the end, right? It'll pay off in the end. So if you buy a lot of things, the free shipping is great. If you watch a lot of shows on Amazon on Amazon Prime, then it's going to be great. So I think you just have to kind of think about, is it worth it? And for a lot of people, it is. And especially if you share an account with other people, then that makes it better too.
Do we know how Amazon is doing? I mean, how things are going in the middle of this Prime Day?
I haven't seen anything yet. I'm sure that they will have some sort of press release post-event to kind of share, especially if it goes well. I think we're coming off of, lockdowns and the pandemic, and there is, obviously the recession and all of that. But I feel like, life kind of going back to normal means people buying kind of goes back to normal too. But I know that it is tough times right now too with the economy. So I'm curious with all those different factors, how it'll shake out.
Do we have a lot of items that are heavily purchased on Prime Day that are already sold out?
So one of the new things that they did this year was these invite-only deals. And, that was is before Prime Day, because they knew that there were items that would probably sell out. And what you would do is you'd request an invite so that when the item goes on sale, you have special access if you're one of the lucky ones. I have to look into which items those might be, because the fact that Amazon felt like they needed to do this means that there are likely going to be items, or likely already are items, that have sold out because they're so popular. And a lot of times it's tech, gadgets and things like that. But I would also say that, as tempting as that kind of stuff is, the fun stuff, the big ticket items, it's kind of a good idea to also think about your household essentials. We were sitting around at lunch today talking about all the things we bought, and somebody said they bought toilet paper. And I was like, This is the time. This is the time to do it. Batteries, toilet paper, light bulbs, the everyday household things, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think a lot of people think of Prime and they're thinking about specialty electronics and all that kind of stuff. This is really a good opportunity to get that stuff. The toilet paper, the light bulbs, all that kind of stuff that you really, you overpay for when you go to the grocery store. This is a great opportunity to get that stuff. Here's the other thing, and I'm glad you brought this up in the note that you sent, that it's fun to sit there and scroll through all the deals on Amazon Prime, and you see the big discounts. Man, you've really got to take like a couple of minutes and try to compare and see how those items are priced at either Target or Walmart.
Exactly. So before you confirm that purchase and let it all go through, just open up another tab and look at what competitors are offering right now. Best Buy, Walmart, Target. They definitely take advantage of all of Amazon's deals, because they know people, that's when they're going online to shop. So they're also going to have sometimes even better prices or comparable prices. And also, if they don't have those same prices, they can price match. So be sure to take a moment to see what other people are offering.
All right. And for those of you listening who are not Prime members, we have come to the end of that discussion, so you can relax. You can just relax, because I know how frustrating it is when people are talking about stuff you're not a part of, and it's like, okay, we've come to the end of that. All right. Yes. By the way, Abra, were you on hold when Coop gave his grumpy answer about Threads?
Yes, I was.
Okay,
yes.
What is your reaction to his dismissal outright of this this social media platform that now has over 100 million been downloaded over 100 million times?
Yeah, his reaction is very much merited because we're all exhausted and we have so many platforms. But the thing is, I joined Threads the day that it launched, and the reason I did is because my friends are on there in the sense that they have Instagram accounts and now they have Threads accounts. And so that's really the big perk with Threads is that we've tried to have so many Twitter alternatives. I have a Blue Sky that I don't use. But the thing about Threads is my friends are on there, and the companies I follow, the publications I follow are on there. So that's where I think it has a leg up over the other competitors, and there's a chance that it could potentially become more popular. I mean, it's too soon to say, but it could potentially become more popular than Twitter, and that's why it has over 100 million downloads already.
All right, Grumpy Coop wants to weigh in on Threads again. Coop,
it's not a grumpy thing, but Robert brings up a great point. I've never engaged much in Facebook or Instagram, so I don't really have any like my family, But I mean, I don't want to go to social media to talk to my family. I mean, the extended family. That's what I mean. I mean, that's where I share the pictures for grandparents and stuff like that. I don't want to be I don't want that to be my primary social media place. You know what I mean? And none of my other friends are my friends with on Facebook. So for me, it just didn't transfer. None of my environment that I interact with was on Threads. So it just didn't make a lot of sense.
Hey, seriously though, I mean, the toxic people that live on Twitter, won't they eventually make it to Threads? Won't they eventually get over there?
That's the sad part. I'm kind of enjoying this honeymoon phase where it's like all the annoying people haven't joined yet, but it's probably going to happen and it'll become a lot less enjoyable. Not that it's like super enjoyable right now. It's still, it's still the early days, but I know that it's inevitable.
Will the algorithm help a little bit with that because it's not a chronological timeline, and they won't have like the fast lane. Like most of the garbage content on Twitter now comes from blue checks. Like the people with like 100 followers in the blue checks because it's all garbage content. And that won't happen on Threads.
Exactly. I feel like it's a bit more polished right now. There's only essentially like a For You page where it's not just people you follow, but it's a lot of recommended accounts. But those recommended accounts are already a lot better than the ones on Twitter. So there is hope there. I hope that it is kind of a cleaner start there.
My wife made me laugh. Last week, she got her Threads account and she was bugging me to get in. And I said, let it all shake out and maybe I'll get in later. And she goes, well, we're having a lot of fun on Threads. You just stay over there on Twitter, which is kind of like the dark, empty mall that nobody is in anymore.
Yeah, and I've been feeling myself already gravitate towards, if I have a random thought, I'm not tweeting it anymore. I'm posting it on Threads. So the shift has already happened for me, which was very fast.
All right. Well, thanks for your advice on Prime Day. So it'll be over soon. And who knows, maybe we'll get Coop to sign up with Threads. We'll work on it.
We'll work on it, yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show, as always. We'll talk more tech next week.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Abrar Al-Heeti at CNET, and they're working their little fingers to the bone. But I want to get Kathy Mattea on the show to talk about Mountain Stage. Kathy, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Doing great.
I'm glad
nice to hear your voice, Dave.
It's nice to be talking to you as well. I'm talking about fries. In the business that you're in, being on the road, I'm guessing for you and our other artists, it's kind of a grind. Food's a grind, right? And it's kind of tough to eat well.
Well, you have to make a conscious effort. It can be done, but you have to think about it. I mean, all of us who've gone on the road have that first year where the bus stops at the truck stop at, midnight, and you're like, oh, a hamburger, that'd be great. Then you feel crappy the next day. It's like, oh, that's why I can't do that. Yeah, that's why I can't do that. So, yeah, I have to think, and I'm older now, and so I have to be careful.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'll need a new stage wardrobe, and I don't want to replace my entire closet.
I gotcha. I understand that. So what have you been doing lately? I mean, there haven't been that many shows lately.
No, we always take July off, and Mountain Stage always takes July off. That works out really well. And so for me, it's been, my husband got real sick and for about 6 weeks, and so I was like, kind of out of my life and focused on that for a while. He's doing fantastic. We went to the doctor today. The doctor's like, you are tearing it up.
Nice.
And so I feel excited, but I'm really glad to have this time to just catch up with myself, to just clean my refrigerator out. Like, really, it was scary in there. And, just going through the closet and catching up on the laundry. It's like very mundane, but boy, it feels great.
You know what? Captain Obvious here, but is there anything better than getting a good report at the doctor? I mean, come on.
Oh, it's really good. And he's worked really hard on rehabbing and stuff and getting his strength back. And he's a human dynamo anyway. So it's great to see. And we feel, we just feel excited about being alive right now.
I hear you.
Tell you the truth.
I hear you. All right. So taking July off, but the first weekend in August, you guys are going to be right back at it, but not here in Charleston. You'll be out in California.
That's right. We're not going to be in Charleston till October, and we won't be back at the Culture Center Theater till December. So Mountain Stage is evidently in demand out there on the road. We're going to be in Northern California at Sonoma State University. On August 6th, we're going to tape a show with Booker T. Jones of Booker T. and the MG.
Nice.
So I'm pretty sure we're going to hear Green Onions and people are going to throw babies in the air. And Chris Smithers on that show, Steve Poltz is on that show, Carla Bonoff is on that show, and I just love her so much. I went to see her. She was in town a couple years ago, and John and I went and visited with her afterwards, and it was just, God, she sounds exactly like she used to sound.
You know what's crazy? A couple things about this. When I saw we were going to talk about her, I mean, she was one of those people that I remember when she started her solo career after she was a backup singer for Linda Ronstadt. And did you ever do any background singing?
I did. I went out, okay, just fasten your seatbelt. I was on the road with Bobby Goldsboro.
Oh, nice.
That was my first road gig, and he was right at the end of his career. But our first gig was about, 4 or 5 nights in Atlantic City at a casino, and they flew us up there. I couldn't believe it, and I called my parents and had to describe every inch of the hotel room to them. My God, you guys, there's a living room and a bedroom.
Right.
Both. And the coffee table is brass, and it's got this glass top. And I mean, I can remember that I was just like, I couldn't believe it, that they were sending me there to do that for singing Oohs and Ahs. It was just, and he treated us just wonderfully. Just a great guy. Wonderful man. Bobby
Goldsboro, great hair. Great hair.
Great hair. The helmet, the football helmet. Yes. And, the band all made jokes about it. And he was very, very kind of, he'd let them joke and he didn't care. But he's now living in Florida, and he's a famous painter.
Really?
In Florida. Yeah. And just thriving in his older years. So I'm thrilled about that too.
Let's hear, Ryan is sitting in for Coop for a few minutes here. Ryan, let's hear a little bit of Carla Bonoff. This song is called Tell Me Why.
Tell Me Why. Winona recorded a version of this song.
Everywhere I look, the sun is shining.
What a good single this is.
Yeah.
That is such a good single.
I know, I have chills. It just takes me back.
Oh, man. Now, Kathy, you ought to take a crack at that. You and Susie.
Oh, I'd be fun. You know, Winona is a contemporary of mine, and I think I'm going to leave that with Dee.
I was going to say,
one of the great voices.
You know what, though? I think you and Susie Boggess could really do a good job on that.
Well, you know, that's an interesting thought. It would be really fun, I can tell you that. And, you know, I mean, part of why I'm excited about Carla being on the show is that she's basically written the soundtrack of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she wrote Home, and Bonnie Raitt did that one, and she wrote Isn't It Always Love, and she wrote Someone to Lay Down Beside Me, and all these Linda Ronstadt songs, and we all know those radio hits, but it's so neat to hear the original way they came out.
You know what's fun? You know, one thing about her before we move on is I guess it was just a different era because we could identify some of those background singers back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who does that now.
I know. You know what? I get frustrated, Coop, because I came up during that time, and you'd save your money to buy an album. And then when you did, you'd put the headphones on and listen to it front to back and read the liner notes and read about who was playing and singing. We followed it like people follow baseball or football, you know. And now all that information would be so easy to just pop up online on the person's website. And I don't understand why they don't do it, because I can't tell you how many times I'm like, who is playing fiddle on that? Who is, you know, and it used to be that you could pick up the album and find that out so easily.
Yeah,
I miss that.
Yeah, you'd read that on the album, and it's there in the CD. I mean, what's a CD, right? But the print is so small that you got to go hunting for it.
And when you download them, you don't get that.
Yeah.
And it's anyway, I protest. I hereby lodge my formal protest.
So that is going to be in Sonoma County. That'll be on August the 6th. Hey, you're going to be in my backyard at the Robinson Grand Theater on August the 27th. I can't tell you how many times I went to the Robinson Grand Theater as a kid. That's where I saw all my classic movies. Love that place. It's a great building. Have you ever been in there?
I have not been in there. I played the Italian Festival one time in Clarksburg.
Ah, yes, the Italian Heritage Festival.
Yes, my father was in a folding chair on the side of the stage in an Italy sweatshirt with his chest popped out so far you could barely. I'm surprised he didn't come out and just stand behind me and smile at me.
Oh, I love that festival.
I have to say that I think someone said that this place has just been remodeled, just like renovated. And we play all kinds of theaters like these. I do around the country. And I just think it says something really great about a community when they preserve those rooms that hold the history of their people.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have Steve Vai's going to play there in a show in a few weeks, and your show's going to be in there on August the 27th. And the Davison Brothers has just been added to this bill, right?
Davison Brothers. It's going to be a bluegrass extravaganza. Jerry Douglas is playing. Tony Trischka is coming. And the Watson twins are the only ones that are not straight bluegrass. They're sort of more Americana, young girls who are twin. I call them girls because they're under 30. Twin girls who sing a really beautiful blend of Americana. And the headliner on that show, well, I don't know. God, I'm looking at this list. I don't know who they're going to decide. But Jason Carter is coming, who is Del McCurry's fiddle player.
Nice. And
just brilliant. And, Del McCurry has this band that any of them could be the front man for a band, and you'd say, oh, they're great, Hey,
let's get
famous for that.
Ryan, let's get about 30 seconds of Jason Carter's Highway 52 in here. That'll be on that show on August 27th in Clarksburg.
If Mama said, son, before you leave me, something I want you to do, promise me that you won't go wrong as you travel down old Highway 52. I'll be sitting on the banks of the Ohio River as the sunrise kisses the dew. The foxhounds running and the steamboats roll. I'm sitting there on Highway 52. I love the hills of old West Virginia. Kentucky, she's painted so blue. My road map's out, my shoes are made for walking. I'll be walking down on Highway 52.
All right, that'll be on August 27th at the Robinson Grand Theater in Clarksburg.
Yeah.
Jason Carter will be there. Hey, Kathy, great visit today. Best to your husband,
Great
okay?
to talk to you. So glad. Thanks, Dave. And I hope to see you soon.
Okay. Man, this is one of my favorite times of the week where we get to spend a couple of minutes talking with Germain Lussier from Gizmodo.com about TV, movies, and more. Germain, how you doing today out in L.A.?
Doing very well, thank you.
How do you think Mission Impossible is going to do this week in the theaters? Is this going to be how big is it going to be?
I think we're looking at, a near $100 million weekend is what it seems like. I think it did like $15 million yesterday, which is like double what Indy did around the same time. And so you figure maybe around double what Indy did, which was like, that was, like 40, 50 or something around there. So, yeah, I think it's going to do well. I think people are excited about it. I think people are into it. And it's a movie that I think people are like, oh, that's one I have to see in the theater.
Yeah, you know what? I really love this idea that you did at Gizmodo.com where you ranked all of the Mission Impossible films. I have to tell you that this series is kind of like the Fast and the Furious series to me in this regard, that there have been so many films that I can't really differentiate between which ones. I remember the stunts, but I don't remember the films in which they came in.
I mean, the stories don't really all link together. They're kind of, each one is a mission for the most part. I think this new movie kind of bucks that trend. It kind of links back to the last movie a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, they're just kind of standalones, and I rewatched them all in the lead up to this, so I kind of had them fresh in my mind. And they definitely are distinct, especially because of the directors. But I also think the overall quality of the Mission movies is pretty good. I mean, better than the Fast and the Furious movies, where there are at least 2 or 3 stinkers in there. But Mission Impossible, even the worst one, is still pretty good.
You know what? And so you have the original Mission Impossible movie from 1996, number 2 on your list. I have to tell you, I really like that movie, and when it's on, if I channel surf over to it, it really does stand up. It's pretty good. Why did you think that was not the best one?
I think Fallout, number 6, the last one, the best one, just because it is so much bigger than that. And that first movie is pretty big. When you watch it back, you're like, oh, wow, this is pretty good. But Fallout just gets so much bigger. There's a nuclear bomb, and then there's a car chase, and then there's a helicopter chase, and Henry Cavill is the villain. And there's like 3 other things that I was thinking about earlier that I already forgot about. But it's just the most complete epic one, I think. I think even compared to, like I said, the new one, it beats it. So, yeah, I just think, by the time we get to 6, that formula from the first one just kind of got dialed up to 11.
You got an article this week at Gizmodo.com about the Emmy nominations that came out, and The Best of Us got a lot of nominations. That's the good news if you like that series. The bad news is Succession got 27. Is this going to be one of those years where Succession is going to win the majority of the awards, even though The Last of Us was a really good series?
Yeah, I feel it's like that. I mean, I'm always very confused about the Emmys, though. Like, it's Succession's this season, but it just ended, and you're like, what about what didn't it get nominated last time? But wasn't that years ago? It's all very confusing. But yes, I think usually the shows with the most nominations do sweep everything, and the problem is that a lot of the Succession nominations are up against each other, so they can't win 27 because 20 of them negate the other one. So Last of Us, if it wins some technical awards, could come out on top with maybe like the most. But when it comes to like the big ones, yeah, I think Succession is going to probably beat Last of Us for most of the time.
I mentioned this to Coop yesterday when we talked briefly about the Emmy nominations. You've got 3 characters from Succession that are nominated in the Best Actor category. Brian Cox, Kieran Culkin, and Jeremy Strong are all Best Actor nominees. Brian Cox was only in 4 episodes in the final season. And I just wonder if that might split the vote a little bit and Pedro Pascal might just get in there.
I mean, that's certainly an argument to be made, and I 100% agree Brian Cox this year should not have been nominated for lead actor, though I guess his presence is kind of felt all the way through, obviously. I mean, for my money, though, come on. Kieran Culkin this season just had the season of all seasons, and you got to give it to my little man, Kieran. I
This hasn't been the best week for Harrison Ford. I mean, you wrote about Insidious. Insidious has passed Indiana Jones at the box office last weekend. And then when the Emmy nominations came out, he did not, Harrison Ford or Helen Mirren, neither one of them got a nomination for 1923.
And Ford not for Shrinking. I didn't watch 1923, but Harrison Ford on Shrinking is one of his like 4 best performances you've ever seen. Like, he's so great on that show. It's on Apple TV Plus. And I thought maybe he wasn't even eligible because I'm like, how is it even possible he's not there? But then when you search through the nominations, his co-star Jason Segel was in there. And I'm like, so they obviously saw the show. How do you not give a nomination to Harrison Ford when it was such a slam dunk? I don't know. So, yeah, you are right. Not a great week for him. It's also, but today's his birthday, so happy birthday to Harrison Ford.
There you go. We follow Jennifer Garner here in West Virginia. She wasn't born here, but she grew up here, went to George Washington High School right here in Charleston. So the word has leaked out that she's going to be Elektra again. That's going to be in Deadpool 3. What do you remember about the Elektra movie, and why didn't it work?
I don't remember much except maybe her midriff.
Right.
And that's about it. But I just don't think those movies. And they made an Elektra movie after she played Elektra in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. I just think at that time in Hollywood, they were too scared to go really kind of hard with it, and too scared to be too goofy with it. And it was a really weird tonal mix that didn't connect with audiences. It wasn't until a few years later when kind of Marvel and Christopher Nolan figured it out on both of those ends. So. It's just they're just not good movies. The story isn't great. Performances are kind of meh. The costumes aren't that exciting. But bringing her back for Deadpool 3, if that does actually happen at this point with the strike just got approved, will be very interesting to see.
And we got about 45 seconds here, but just one more point about Jennifer Garner. I don't think people remember, but at the time, that Elektra movie was kind of groundbreaking because it was one of the first times that a studio pushed a lot of money into a superhero movie that featured a woman as a lead.
Yeah, that, and then there's also Catwoman.
Yeah.
Around that time, and then nothing basically until Black Widow like 3 years ago. So yeah, no, it's absolutely true. So it was, and because Jennifer Garner at that time was one of the biggest stars in the world coming out of Alias. So I think they probably had high hopes. I'm sure she doesn't feel great about it, but hopefully that paycheck she gets for Deadpool will make it all better.
All right, got to leave it there. Germain, thanks for jumping on with us. I'll talk to you again next Thursday. All right, Amy Smith comes to us from Los Angeles at Investors Business Daily, and she may be on California now, but she grew up here in West Virginia, grew up in the Elkins area, and she is the shining pride of Randolph County. How you doing today, Amy?
Well, we have a great market day, so of course it's a great day to talk to Dave Weekly.
I tell you what, things have been going pretty well. Do you think that maybe we were worried a little bit too much about a possible recession? Because it looks like the market is shaking that off for the moment.
Yeah, it does. We definitely have continued strength. We had the producer price index was cooler than expected, so you're right. We were really afraid that this inflation was going to pop. And it looks like now, we still have inflationary problems, but the idea of the recession, people are not as afraid of that. Now, we have a lot of things to get into here, though, Dave. We've got earnings big time with the banks. Tomorrow, we've got J.P. Morgan, we've got Citi, we've got Wells Fargo. And then, of course, in the next coming weeks, we get all the big names, all the big FANG names. And so that's going to set the tone. Today was a great day, but it's hard to say how it's going to go from here.
You know what? I'm going to be real interested in seeing how the big money center banks do tomorrow because, there's a theory that what has been bad news for the regional banks has really been pretty good for the big money center banks. That's where people are flocking. That's where the money is the safest.
It is. And, we'll have to see. Also, I have to tell you, I think we've talked about this before on the show. The financials kind of set the tone. When the financials are in trouble, the overall market doesn't do very well. When we have the banking industry kind of, settled down and they're doing well, everybody feels the financials are solid, then the market does better. We've also had an easing dollar. You can follow that on the UUP. The dollar spiking higher and higher, that was really pressuring the market. That's come way down. So it's nice to see that as well. A little bit lower dollar, a little easing on the pressure of some of these multinationals.
All right, a couple of stocks I want to ask you about. First of all, what's your take on the action in NVIDIA? NVIDIA was up again today, up 4.7%, gained almost $21 on the day, just trading just under $460 a share, and it's moved into another buy zone according to IBD. I mean, this thing's been roaring all year. Is there still room to go?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Dave. We called it 4 weeks tight here, and so it is in that considered that buy zone. It kind of broke above that today. NVIDIA is the darling. It is the AI darling. It has been the AI darling for, several months now. Some of these super stocks, we were just talking about this on a webinar I did last night with honoring Bill O'Neill and talking about some of the, the great monster stocks from the past. And they could be the railroads, when we didn't have the cars. We need railroads to get the goods and services around. And, now we're looking at these AI stocks. And, this could be a big, big leader. It's a little bit early to see, but it certainly is acting very strong.
All right. I've got a couple of listener questions. Are you ready for a couple?
Sure.
All right. Here's somebody. This is a good topic. What do you think of Dollar General? Dollar General, the symbol is DG. The stock was down about $3 today. These dollar stores, it hasn't been that long ago that they were really kind of the darling in the market. It looks like they're breaking down a little bit here.
Yeah, it does. I'm sorry to say if this person is maybe thinking because they've come down that maybe they're showing strength. But, this stock was at $259, and this thing is now down. It's like at $162-ish. That's not good. They had trouble with their earnings numbers and their sales numbers. So this one just right now looks terribly weak.
Yeah, Dollar General shares down 31% in the first half of 2023. Let's see. We had another question for you, and I thought this was interesting. How about Frontier? Frontier, the symbol is FYBR. FYBR. Let's talk a little bit about Frontier.
Okay, Frontier Comms. Okay, this is a voice access and broadband internet service to consumer and commercial customers. I'm sorry to say this one as well. This one has struggled. Anytime you see a company, I tell you one thing to help your listeners. If a company has really good earnings and sales, it will typically go up. If a company is suffering from bad earnings and bad sales, the stock will usually always go down. And that's the case with this one. It was up here around $30, and now it's heading down towards 15 here. So I would avoid this one too.
Yeah, Frontier really had a rough day. Frontier was down 6.7% today, down $1.17, closed the day a little over $16. All right, Amy, I got to ask you, what's your take on Disney here? I mean,
yes.
Disney making a lot of noise. Bob Iger got an extension. He wants to stay on, but he kind of rocked the market a little bit earlier today, saying that, it's not a given. I'm paraphrasing here, that Disney staying in the TV business, the linear TV business, may not be a given.
Yeah, that was a shocker. That's not exactly what, when he did that interview, that's not exactly what people expected to hear him say. I think it's all about profitability. That's the whole thing. He was brought back to steady the ship. The stock had been down quite a bit. But you're right. Also, his contract has been extended through 2026. Disney stock, Dave, it kind of yawned at the news. It really didn't react one way or the other. It didn't really react positively, negatively. It was up a little bit. But I can't say that this was a very strong reaction. So Disney for right now is just holding.
It's funny, though. I've held Disney in the past, and I'd kind of like to get back into Disney, but I want to get in there a little closer to 80 than 90. But I mean, so it still has to take another 10% haircut. But this is really turning out to be a rough business. I mean, they've had some problems with the movies. Indiana Jones has been kind of not a flop, but not the big winner that they thought it would be. The subscriber growth has started to slow. It's so expensive to create programming, and now the theme parks are starting to slow down too. Disney's been a rough ride this year.
They have had a rough ride. Of course, they have the ESPN problems, as you know pretty well. So Disney right now, it's a good company. This is exactly what we talk about at IBD all the time. It's a good company. It's a good name. Everybody knows it. We all know Disney. It doesn't mean it's a good stock right now. So, for instance, what is moving? What's producing these earnings numbers? What's doing well in the market? And that's where we go. We go where the earnings are. Even if we like a company, even if we go shop at a company, You may have your favorite store, favorite retail store, and that's great. It doesn't mean it's a good stock. So I say, it's funny, Bill O'Neill would say, all stocks are bad unless they go up. And, that's right. Every stock is bad unless they go up for you. So, when people just keep that in mind for the listeners. Just look for earnings. Somebody's got to be profiting from their whatever they're selling or their service. And those are the stocks that we want to look for.
Bill O'Neill, he could turn a phrase now. That's pretty good. Hey, Amy, thanks for coming on the show as always. You have a good week. I'll talk to you next Thursday. Let's get out to San Francisco, where Pat Strader is standing by for the first ever #Beer Friday segment from California. Pat, how are you doing out there?
I'm doing great, Dave. Happy Beer Friday.
Happy Beer Friday. So set the scene for me, Pat. What are you doing out there?
Well, so here, just real quick, a quick correction for you, Dave. I was just telling my daughter that we were out here, I think it was 2018, 17, and I actually did a Beer Friday call from Alcatraz.
Oh, I forgot about that. You're right. You're right.
But, I'm standing actually just left Muir Woods and hanging out, tooling around on Stimson Beach. So,
Nice. So you're going to the Dead & Company show. What night? Is that tonight or this weekend?
So they're doing 3 shows tonight, and I'm not going this evening, but I will be at the last 2, Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, man. So that's pretty crazy. I mean, like Bob Weir can basically just like drive over from his crib, do the show, and go right back after the show's over, right?
Yep, I'm pretty anxious to see how they go out. So I'm really excited.
Okay, well, we're going to get to the beer, but I got to continue the Grateful Dead talk just for a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I mean, what about your daughter Allie? Is she ready to experience this?
Yeah, she's been to a couple of shows with me, and it's been kind of fun watching her come around. In like some of the songs that she'll be playing sometimes that years ago I would have never really thought had been anything but Justin Bieber.
All right. So what's your favorite Grateful Dead song?
Oh, man, there's so many to list. But, I love some of the stuff like China Cat Sunflower.
There you go.
Go into some other things. But, man, it's really hard to pick just one.
So where's the show going to be? In the football stadium?
It's at Oracle Park. Yeah, it's at Oracle Park. So,
oh, man.
And this place is just crawling with deadheads. So it's going to be fun. This is going to be an awesome weekend.
All right. Well, make sure you keep your eye on your daughter out there. All right. So let's talk. Oh, you know what? We've had a couple of people who want to know what you think about Anchor Brewing. The nation's oldest craft brewery is closing its doors.
Yeah, this is a really big story, Dave. And I sent you a couple of notes about this and just some thoughts with it. But, just kind of set the scene with this. Anchor Brewing, for those that are unfamiliar with them, was the first craft brewery, excuse me. I mean, they have been around for a very, very long time. Which was interesting because several years ago, they were actually acquired by Sapporo for $85 million. I believe that, August of 2017 was when that happened. So, they were, on the front of being acquired by these larger conglomerates. And they are now closing their doors. And I think that this is a very significant, I hate to use the word a seminal moment, but this is big because, we're starting to see big breweries, starting to fold up. This isn't the first one we've seen, but probably the most noteworthy. So I think it's going to be something we'll really keep an eye on. But, when it comes to our West Virginia breweries and small craft breweries, I think that this is what we've kind of seen happen is those local breweries are just kind of taking things over, which, frankly, Dave, is kind of the way it should be in my mind.
There you go. By the way, this closing of Anchor Brewing is something that many of the texters who have sent notes to me today for you have noted, including Doug in Martinsburg. And he also noted that you should visit Alcatraz. It's a national park and well worth it. And you've already noted that you've already been out there.
Yeah, we love the history of that place. Actually, I think we might even go out there this evening.
And
I definitely love hanging out there.
Here's another person, 304-415. Dave, ask Pat if his visit to California is the reason that Anchor is closing. That's no, I don't think so.
No, but I am going to go help them get rid of their leftover inventory here in just a minute.
All right, there you go. Hey, let's get back into the local stuff. What's going on with Weathered Ground?
Well, and what I was just saying about like our local breweries and how they've become parts of our communities and have been embraced and the loyalty and things. This exemplifies that. And Weathered Ground, we talk about them all the time because they do a great job with everything that they do. But in this particular case, they're releasing a strawberry saison. I remember them doing this last year, but they're using locally grown strawberries from Himbuk Sioux, the name of the farm. But then taking it even a step further, and there's a restaurant there at the brewery. They've made a wing sauce with some strawberries. So, I just think that this exemplifies what I was referring to with the community piece. They're working with local farms. They're creating unique and interesting things. And it just looks like a fantastic year. So if you happen to be down there around Weathered Ground, check out that strawberry saison and try the strawberry habanero wing sauce. Nice. And it's a beautiful can as well. All right, what's happening with Short Story? We got some news from them as well. Yes, happy 6th anniversary to Short Story Brewing. Their 6th anniversary party starting tonight, I believe, Dave. Mm-hmm. But they're going to have lots of food, music. I mean, where else but West Virginia could you go see a band called the Slaw Dogs? That's right. But beach volleyball, mentioned barbecue, and they will also have a shuttle running from the Paw Paw Fairgrounds because I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people out there helping them celebrate their 6th anniversary, and my hat's off to them. Yeah, so if you're taking part in the beach volleyball tournament that starts in about 45 minutes, if you get eliminated, then you can just kind of hang out and catch the Slaw Dogs at 7 o'clock. Slaw Dogs. Hey, we got a little note about foam at the Dome. Yeah, a while back we talked about how they were moving the foam to Dome, had to change the dates, and that is coming up soon. And the tickets are still available. FoamCWD.com is where you can go purchase tickets and find all the details on that. But I just wanted to make sure and get that on everybody's radar. The Foam of the Dome is coming up soon. All right. Tell you what, I've got a lot of stuff for you today, Pat. Let me see here. Yeah. A lot of people really love the fact you're out there in California. Here's Jim. He wants to know, 304-826. Hey, Pat. Who has better craft beer, West Virginia or California? I'm betting on West Virginia. Thanks, Jim. Well, it's a great question, and we kind of talked about this. I think last week, Dave, we kind of alluded to it. There's great breweries everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere. And West Virginia, Dave, you and I pretty much had the opportunity to see this all really kind of come together. West Virginia breweries can stand with anybody else out there. So, I love my West Virginia beer, but when I'm out here, I love trying the local, one-off stuff that I'd never be able to get unless I was actually in their pub. All right. Well, you're out there in San Francisco. What's in your hand, or what will be there soon? Nothing at the moment, but I am going to get a couple of Anchor Steams this evening. It's a very nostalgic beer, and it's really disappointing to see them going out. So I'm going to go raise one of those Anchor Steam beers here in just a bit. Hey, man, are you checking these Dead & Company set lists? Do you know what they're going to play? Yeah. No idea, and that's why I'm so excited. I can't wait to see, what they're going to roll out, because they've been playing some heaters, and I'm so excited about this weekend. Do you think they're going to play? I can't even describe it. Do you think they're going to play Fire on the Mountain? That's kind of my song. Anything is game, I think. Anything is game, and everyone is game. I don't know if you happen to see that their last show at Folsom Field in Colorado, Dave Matthews came out. And played with them. So just really, really fun stuff. Now, this is technically their farewell tour, right? Yes, last show is Sunday. Never miss a Sunday show, Dave.
There you go. Oh, that's exactly right. That is exactly right. Hey, Pat, have a great weekend. Make sure your daughter has a great weekend and have a safe trip back to the WV. Get the theme going. And it is time now for a little buy or sell. Buy or sell. We were thinking every Thursday when Amy Smith comes on the show to talk about buying and selling stocks, why don't Coop and I do a segment where we use the same idea for sports, music, pop culture, and more. That's what we're doing today, so let's go ahead and get started with buy or sell. I'm here, Coop's here, Ryan Nicholson has come in, and Jarett Lewis is in the back. Now, Jarett, you seem very confident with your statements and your topic today. So why don't we start?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, why don't you come in hot from the newsroom?
Okay,
What do you got?
Bat and lead off again. I like that.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so I actually had a different buy or sell plan, but I came up with this idea. You just brought up Prime Day earlier in the show, talking about Amazon Prime and how well they did with their Prime Day and everything. But I'm going to talk about a different Prime, and that would be the drink. Now, I don't know if you guys have had the drink. I actually brought one with me today. You could see. I got the lemon lime flavor. Okay, so this is all funny how this all worked out, connecting the dots and everything. But you may be familiar with the drink. It's Logan Paul's drink. Looks like it's having a lot of success. Yada yada. They've been around for quite some time. They've been gaining some steam, and I enjoy the flavors. They have about half a dozen flavors. I think they got, red, they got blue, they got purple, whatever. All the basic flavors that you normally see. So I saw a story yesterday. It's also funny how I came up with this buy or sell. National media, they're talking about the Prime drink being recalled in Canada. Now, Logan Paul and his buddy on this deal is KSI. You may know him as well, you may not. He's a famous streamer. Mm-hmm. So they came out on social media, and after these stories broke out, they said, we don't distribute Prime in Canada. So that was kind of a funny story. Anyways, that's all besides the point. So the story gave me the idea for buy or sell. The drinks are 10% coconut water. Now, I don't know if you've had an actual coconut either. I had one on the beach in Florida a few years ago. I didn't like it too much, but I don't mind the taste of these drinks. They have 10% coconut water in them. So it all comes down to this: buy or sell coconut water products.
Coconut water products, I think I'm going to buy that. That's not the kind of thing I drink, but I know that the big corporations have tapped that space pretty effectively. They've been around for a while. I'm going to buy that. Okay.
2 grams of sugar also, which that's pretty good, right? That's not terrible, is it?
It's not too bad.
Well, you're drinking the Prime, right?
Yeah.
And the problem with Prime is that it has exceeded the amount of caffeine it's supposed to have. Isn't that the problem?
These drinks are caffeine free.
Oh, that one's caffeine free.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
The coconut water, I don't dislike coconut water. If you like it, I think it's fine. The nutrition myth behind it is just that there's no actual added health benefits to drinking coconut water. That it was an unreviewed scientific study 6 or 7 years ago that the marketers took and everybody believed, and there's reams of studies that followed up to debunk the whole thing. So coconut water is basically just water. It's not going to help you any more than that. That being said, the Prime drinks taste a little like Kool-Aid. I'm not a big fan of the Prime drinks necessarily, except for the lemonade one, which I think is pretty good. I've had that.
Nice.
Other than that, I don't care. Coconut water is fine. The only problem I have with them is the upselling cost, and you're not really buying anything. It's just like water. So I'm going to sell them lightly just because of that. It's a little bit of a bait and switch.
Okay.
Well, I do like how when you were listing flavors, you said blue, red.
Okay, how about strawberry or fruit punch or blueberry or grape? They have grape, and they have orange, which is a flavor and a color.
Energy drink aside, we should never forget that Logan Paul put a video of a dead body on the internet, and we should never forget that. I will sell.
Okay. That's great.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan.
That's pretty good. Ryan, what do you got? What's your buy or sell?
All right. So we're talking about AI, right?
Okay.
And Hollywood AI. They want to. They said they got a program of some sort that will scan an extra, and then they pay the extra about a day's wage, and then they use the extra's image for eternity. So that extra will be everywhere. AI generated in the background of every movie scene. And I imagine, man, if you can get an AI of a person and use that for like practically chump change, then what's stopping us from replacing Dave Weekly with an AI?
Wait a minute.
Buy or sell AI Dave Weekly as the new host.
Wait a minute. I mean, does this date back to our scuffle yesterday during In or Out? Is that what got you going, trying to find an artificial intelligence replacement for me?
No, this is a different scuffle.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna sell that because I like being on the show.
But AI Dave Weekly would probably buy that.
Yeah, he probably would. Yes, yeah, you're right about that. That was well played, Ryan. Coop?
Yeah, we know this from the Hollywood actors. Kristyn Burtt covered this a little bit earlier this week. We're getting to the point where the technology is not really ready for this yet, but it's getting there fast, and it's been growing just in the 8 months since it's been released, and a lot of these things have been put together. The technology's come a long way. I definitely sell this. It's already hard enough as broadcasters getting into jobs and not getting muscled out by ex-jocks and stuff like that. We don't need computers taking our jobs too.
Thank you, Coop.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It is scary to think about like all the different industries and jobs that can be overtaken by AI. So that's
honestly, I think ours is one of the harder ones as far as the on-air portion of it. I think that's one of the harder ones.
You can't replace Dave Weekly.
Thank you.
You would not believe the demo that I had given to me earlier this year about some of this stuff. They're trying to do it. Trust me, it's out there.
All right. Ryan, I got to keep my eye on you, obviously. So, all right, moving on. Coop, I want to do one, okay?
Yeah, you do yours.
So I saw this today. There are not one, but there are two stories about this. Russell Westbrook of the NBA, he's buying in to Leeds United of the EPL as part of the 49ers group. And Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, they've been lifelong friends on the PGA Tour. They're buying in. Now Westbrook is in. There's a story today that Dwayne Wade is going to be part of the ownership group of the Chicago Sky of the WNBA. He's already part of the ownership group of the Utah Jazz of the NBA and Real Salt Lake in Major League Soccer. This trend of successful and wealthy sports celebrities buying into sports franchises is not slowing down anytime soon. And I think it's actually good for sports. Buy or sell?
I'll take this right away. I'll buy it if it's an arms race against like the Saudis, because the other people buying up everything's the Saudis. They're buying up every sports franchise or leagues and stuff out there that's possible. I would much rather it be in the hands of former athletes looking to get into the game than to do the sports washing thing. So I'll buy it from that perspective.
Jarett, what are your thoughts on this? This is not slowing down anytime soon. Rich sports celebrities buying sports franchises, and it's actually good for sports.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, this is now, I don't know when he invested in it, but when LeBron had a stake in Liverpool, it was only a couple of million, and now, 10, 12 years later, whatever it is now, the value of the team's gone up, so his stake has gone up. It really does make sense for these guys to get involved in that sort of thing. It's funny that why do they choose soccer teams? That's my big question. Obviously these English Premier League teams are worth, buku bucks, but, is it just the love of the game? Are they trying to expand over into Europe, like have an influence in that sort of thing over there? But yeah, it does make sense for them, and it looks like it's working, and LeBron kind of kickstarted that a little.
Yeah, and LeBron's in the Red Sox group as well. And of course, next week you've got Messi's going to be playing for Miami and MLS, and Beckham basically runs that franchise. What do you think, Ryan? Or is it AI, Ryan?
Well, if sports and sports broadcasting are at their best when they are struggling financially. So I think this is a terrible decision. So I will sell.
Coop, what do you got?
Okay. Okay. What do you guys know about the icon of the seas? Sound familiar to anyone?
Is it a ship?
It is. This is the new monstrosity from the Royal Caribbean. Builders from Turco and Finland have come together to build this quarter gross tonnage ship that is 1,200 feet long, 20 decks, has a maximum capacity of 7,600 passengers with a crew of 2,300.
Man,
this thing it's the biggest ship. It is 5 times bigger than what the Titanic was. Has something called an aquadome, which has a 55-foot waterfall, which is the largest waterfall at sea. Has something called a suite neighborhood, where you can go and it's a city within a city where you can just hang out, and that's where all of your shopping and everything is. Has Central Park, which is a 5-level park in the middle of the thing that has natural trees and grass in it. Chill Island, which is where you can go with all kinds of swimming pools. It has the highest water slide that's on the water. It has this thing on Thrill Island called a Category 6, and it also has a wave pool called the Perfect Storm. Now, those seem like bad choices to me, because a Category 6 and a Perfect Storm at sea seem like bad things. Price. They have 40 bars and restaurants. There's a surfside area where you can go, and it's just like the beach, and they've mimicked the beach there. This thing is huge. It's gargantuan. Prices start at $1,851. That's for a 3-day cruise from Miami to the Western Caribbean, and that's going in September. They also have a cruise. Their second cruise is in March of 2024. $10,864. They have townhomes and everything that's involved in this. So just simply buy or sell. Is this something that you would do? Would you go on one of these ships and take a cruise on it?
I'm going to sell this. Cruise ships are petri dishes for COVID. I'm going to sell that.
What do you think, Jarett?
On the price alone, I mean, you know how I am by now. I'm a big old cheapskate, but I will sell this too. It's not the amenities just sound terrific, but the number of people, I wouldn't want to be around that many people on a structure like that, if that makes sense. You know, like I don't mind being at the beach or something like that. Things that are similar actually on land, but being on a ship that size with that many people, I'm going to sell.
Gotcha.
You know, I've only been on one cruise ship in my life, and that's one cruise ship too many. But, you know, being 5 times bigger than the Titanic, which, let me remind everyone, was one of the worst cruise ships disasters in history, sounds like an invitation for disaster. So I'll sell.
All right, that was a spirited round of buy or sell. I almost lost my job in this segment, which was pretty interesting. All right, we'll take a break. Bring him on in. Aristotle Jones. Sounds good, West Virginia.
Oh, those West Virginia.
All right, Aristotle, come on. Just between you and me and Coop, you used a little AI on that note, right?
No, AI wasn't there yet. That's a new thing that has come up in the last couple of years, man. Maybe Tom Brady's using AI to hack the algorithm to get a little bit of a feed, a little bit of buzz in the action.
Maybe so. All right.
I'm a proud Atlanta Falcons fan, so I tell you what, Tom Brady, for multiple reasons, can just go to wherever. He can go to the moon and play football there if he wants.
Oh, isn't that funny? So anytime you see any game with the score 28-3, you get like a nervous twitch?
You know, man, that's a historical Falcons thing. It's not just the Super Bowl, man. There's a whole history of us blowing leads. So, you know, it's like the Mountaineers. You just keep on trucking and believe this year's your year, and you go as long as you can.
Hey, before we get to the music, why are you a Falcons fan? How did that happen?
Primetime Deion Sanders, man, Andre Rison, Jerry Glanville, MC Hammer. Oh, man, that was the time to be a Falcons fan. And then they hook you in. It was the glitz and the glamour. And then you're stuck for life.
Oh, man. Andre Rison. I can totally see.
TLC burning down houses. It was like the whole time.
That's so true. All right. Let's, as I say every week, man, one of the things I love about your segment is not only do we talk about the musicians who need attention here in our state, but I like how you focus on the venues in which they play. Let's start there first.
That's right, man. I always believe, you know, there's tons of cool places and lots of smiling faces. And if you don't know, you don't go. I'm stopping at a place tonight with my band, and we're going to Jacoby's Sports Bar. It's right in the middle of Clarksburg. It's a new venue that opened up this year. It's a really fun place. It's because it's like innovative hybrid of a barcade, a speakeasy, and a music venue.
Okay.
They rarely charge a cover unless like the band really wants it. They got really tasty food, including like breakfast items, So we're playing like 10 to 1. We haven't played a set for a while where we started after 10 p.m. So, we're going to be playing late night tonight. So it's a good place to come after you have dinner and you want to hang out and keep the date going a little bit longer.
You know what? I'm glad you gave me a little background on this because I've got the notes here, and I saw Jacoby's Sports Bar on North Main. And man, I know Clarksburg. I'm like, I don't know this place. So you say it's relatively new.
Yeah, it just opened up earlier this year, and they have a commitment to live music. So they have live music probably 4 or 5 nights a week. They start off with an open mic and a jam night. They have singer-songwriters.
Okay.
They had reggae and ska. And tonight they got the Appalachian Soul Man.
There you go. And I know you'll tear it up. How close is this place to the courthouse?
Oh, it's right there on the corner. So if you head back towards 50, if you turn off Main or turn off what's the road that's going parallel to 50, but you turn like you're heading back there, like you're going back getting on there. It's right there, and you would miss it because there's a little hair salon, and you got to go down the stairs.
Gotcha.
So that's the speakeasy vibe of it.
All right. Jacoby's Sports Bar right there in North Main and Clarksburg.
Super fun. They got free pool on Fridays. Darts, all kinds of video games. It's a real cool place to hang out.
All right, let's get into the music. And we're talking about Harrison County. We're right there. You've got somebody from Bridgeport and Lost Creek.
Yeah, I figure give Lost Creek a little bit of love because all anybody does is drive past Lost Creek. But they have an amazing artist coming out of Lost Creek in the Bridgeport area named Austin Glaspel. If you like Led Zeppelin or maybe a little bit more modern like Greta Van Fleet, you'll love his high-pitched I'm trying to think. It's kind of like a Jack White. It's really got that beautiful high-pitched tone. It's got a little bit of southern rock with a little bit of folk edge to it that you can only get in Appalachia. And he just released his song Yellow Moon today. So I thought I would give him a little bit of love for a brand new artist on the scene. So let's take a listen to Austin Glaspel's Yellow Moon.
All right, Coop, let's have it.
Chasing you, yellow moon. Yeah, it's deja vu, that old love in a smoky room. It isn't summertime without you. I just sit right here and watch the sunrise like you love to do. And I said, ooh, ooh, yellow moon, I've been chasing you. Ooh, ooh, yellow moon. And I said, ooh, ooh, yellow moon, I've been chasing you. Ooh, ooh, yellow moon, I've been chasing you.
All right. There is definitely a Greta Van Fleet vibe there.
Yeah. It's not quite as high as like Robert Plant and Led Zeppelin, but it's kind of like give you that acoustic kind of vibe right there in the middle. Total West Virginia vibe. Looking at that sunset right before it goes over there heading west, right where it gets that yellow to pink color. I can see the imagery of that, mellowing out.
I like that. I like that. How old is Austin?
Man, he's in his 20s. He's probably about 25, 26 years old. And, he's brand new to the performance scene. He's really just getting out there. You have to check him out. You'll definitely see him around.
Was he playing the guitar on that too?
Yeah, that's him on acoustic guitar.
Oh man!
You'll usually see him picking and grinning by himself. They got him in the studio to fill out the sound a little bit more. It's part of that whole Harrison County Shinston Renaissance and revival that's going on there with the music studio they have there called The Press.
Yeah, it was very well recorded.
Oh yeah, that's his name is Brendan Wood, who is the producer that's pumping out a lot of these tunes out of there.
That sounds good. Nice job, Austin. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Funkta-Fest.
All right. Well, this is one you definitely got to get to, Dave, because I know you like to get funky and shake your booty every once in a while.
Oh, he knows me, Coop. He knows me.
Man, we were there in studio a while back, so I totally get your vibe, man. So what happens is on September 16th down in Huntington at the Ritter Park Amphitheater that they recently renamed the Ritter, after Snarky Puppy came there, they had every year for the last several years they had a funk festival called Funkafest, and that's put on by the MFB. And you got to get this, man. The lead singer of the MFB is called Funkle Sam. He wears a whole, James Brown in Rocky IV when he's still living in America. It's pretty much that whole outfit there with a cowbell and a codpiece and a big old Star Spangled Banner hat. It's pretty fun to watch. But also, this band is made up of like a super band of musicians from all around the state that got together just to create some good sounds. And they throw this awesome music festival. Headliner is going to be Jocelyn and the Sweet Compression. They have the Kind Thieves out of Southern West Virginia there. Jeremy Short, who's been on a nationwide tour. Charleston rapper Shalem, and then live on Levee tonight has Dinosaur Burps, so you can check them out in Huntington in September too. Plus they got Holly Forbes from The Voice, and it's just a free show. So September 16th, get down to Huntington at the Ritter Park Amphitheater there and come join us at Funkafest. I won't be there. I'm going to be up in Morgantown at the Osage Street Fair. But if you're in Southern West Virginia, that's the place to be.
What's the music you got for this?
Oh, man, this is the MFB. They put out an awesome video last year on YouTube for a song they have called Big Booty Judy. It's all about dancing and grooving and getting active. And you got to totally check out the video on YouTube. So just type in MFB Big Booty Judy.
And here let's hear some of it.
So let me tell you a story about a girl named Judy. She had on the package, got a bigger booty. Working the bus by day, the pile of the stash. She'll be out at night, bringing in the cash. Talk about the epitome of perfection. She was the one that had all of the effusion and the lights seemed to bring out all that she could show. Well, frankincense inside, that's all you seem to know. There's automatic ability to insist on a happening good time. A time such as this, when she may have stumbled on a feeling for the truth. To spread the word of groove from the elders to the youth. Big booty Judy with the movements in a sway would lure them by the masses, scream everywhere they say. Big booty Judy looking sexy, looking hot. Come on, take your shoulder, put something to feel hot.
Nice. Yeah. Old school, man.
It's old school, yeah, man. And I thought you'd totally dig Big Booty Judy, man. You cannot watch it or watch the video without smiling and laughing and dancing along. So you can see MFB live performing it at Funkafest September 16th at the Ritter Park Amphitheater down in Huntington.
That is great. That's great. So you've got your show on our flagship 580 WCHS, WVAQ as well tomorrow. What's your show about?
Man, we're still gearing up for the Sounds Good Festival coming up. That's July 28th. I just released a brand new single myself called Best Nest. That's 2 for the month, so you got to go to AristotleJones.com to check it out. And we got Shalem, we got the Heavy Hitters, we also have Annie Neely Band and Habitat out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They're all coming to Fairmont, so we're doing previews and interviewing those artists, and you can see them live on stage. And that's July 29th at Palatine Park at the Sounds Good Festival.
And you're going to be at Jacoby Sports Bar tonight, right?
That's right, man. There's all kinds of good stuff happening. It is the creative renaissance in West Virginia, and we're just out here putting out art.
All right. And for people who are listening to this segment that we do every Friday at 5:33, and they're like, hey, I got a band. Hey, what about my cousin?
That's right.
How do they get in touch with you?
Well, I want to hear your cousin's band. So please send me your music to soundsgood@wvradio.com. Or you can, on Facebook, it Sounds Good WV, and just send me a brief bio, the MP3, and I'll get you on the radio, man. It's that easy. Like, how hard is it? In the past, you think, I want to be on the radio. How does that happen? You just send Aristotle an email.
There you go.
Get you on the radio.
There you go. Aristotle, great stuff as always. Tear them up tonight in Clarksburg, and I'll talk to you next Friday.
Hey, Dave, keep grooving out the Big Booty Judy, right?
You got that right. You got that right.
Metro News Hotline.